we pack up, we make about an hour run a little bit deeper into the sandhills, meet up with another good buddy, Matt, and we head on out. Obviously, expectations are always high. You know, we were seeing coyotes, but they just weren't wanting to come to the call. So we made a move. We went to a different part of the ranch that Matt hadn't been to recently. We started hearing coyotes howling. So it took us about 3 stands to get into the coyotes finally. And it was late in the stand. A lot of times when it's dead calm, those coyotes just come in a little slower. And that was the case on this stand. It was probably 8 minutes in, switched the sounds up. 10 minutes in, I switched to a coyote fight. 12 minutes in, I switched back to a rabbit. And probably 14-minute mark or so, Matt spots the coyote clear over to the right, almost on the downwind. And I just kind of waited for the coyote to make a move. A lot of times, if you're sitting there and the coyote pops up, let the coyote make the move first before you get real antsy and try to move your sticks and the coyote spooks off. That's what I did. We just kind of froze. We got the camera on him. The coyote starts coming off the hill. I moved. The coyote got down in the bottom. I only had about another 20 yards before the coyote would have got behind the hill on us. And a lot of times a simple little whistle or lip squeak or bark, and that coyote's going to stop and check up. And that's what this coyote did. Woo! Woo! Well, we had to work for that coyote. We did get in here where the coyotes were. They were actually further west than what we thought. I'm pretty sure this was one of the coyotes, but Matt made a great spot. We were 15 minutes into the stand. A lot of times when it's dead calm like that, you just got to sit a little longer. The coyotes just usually don't come barreling in. They take their time, just like this one did. And he almost got behind the hill on us. The wind's kind of going back over the top here, so I was almost out of shooting room. The camera was almost out of room to view it, so coyote stopped kind of quartering towards me. I must have raked it down that side shoulder, down through the ribs, but didn't drop it down, but it tumbled there about 10, 15 yards down in the cut, so that's why persistence pays off. We've been hard at it all day, and they're coming in. The couple that we've called in have been real sneaky like that, but hey, nonetheless, we got a coyote in the truck. We still have a couple hours of daylight left to maybe get a few more. So Matt was feeling a little down on himself because I had been shooting the coyotes that day and he hadn't got a chance to shoot one yet. So he was bound and determined on this very next stand that he was going to be the one that gets the coyote. So we got in there, and luckily for us, right when we got sat down, the wind picked up. And this is something we didn't have all day. The wind picked up to 8 or 10 mile an hour. It was still overcast, and we were sitting in a bunch of yuccas, and I knew it would be a little tough to see these coyotes, but I felt good about the stand. And sure enough, it's not 6 minutes into the stand, and we look up and we spot this coyote, and he's already 50 yards and closing at the call, coming hard through the yuccas. But I knew this coyote was coming right for the call. If he got within, a 10-foot circle of it, he probably was going to wind it, and then it was going to be a circus trying to shoot him, dodging through the yuccas, running away. So I kind of lined up out, and he went through this little gap, and I rolled him probably, 8 feet from the call. Come to find out, Matt wasn't too happy about it. He had the slack pulled out of his trigger right on that thing, and he accused me of shooting coyotes out from under him, but I told him he'd probably missed anyway. So we got a coyote. It was footage you like to see. Anytime you get a coyote that comes hard right at the call like that, and you can kill him right next to the call, that says a lot about what you're doing. So last day of the trip, we make yet another move. We drive south about an hour from where we were hunting the day before. We meet up with Tyler and Ty, and we have high expectations because the weather pattern finally changed. Overnight, temperature dropped probably 40, 50 degrees. It's spitting snow. The way the ranch laid out, we had a northeast wind that day. So it's very important early on in the day, if you're planning on making a run through a particular area, get the wind right off the bat. So we made a big run, and we actually came in, so we got clear down on the south end of the property we're gonna hunt. And that way everything, as you're making stands throughout the day, everything kind of lines up. So you can call this area, you essentially drive through the area you just got done calling, and you start looking for a new place to set up. Everything behind you doesn't matter anymore because you just called it. But nonetheless, we struggled a little bit in the morning. I don't think we were getting on coyotes for whatever reason. And it wasn't until about lunchtime that we were just trying to find a pattern, trying to find where these coyotes, were they up in the hills, were they down in the rush beds? We finally found a big hill. We found the cattle. We got up in the hill, and it's not 3-4 minutes into the stand, and I catch a glimpse of the coyote coming over the hill. He disappears down into the drop. Ready? And I was able to alert Ty and Tyler, and I kind of both saw them swing their guns right there in front of the call, and I figured it was going to be
you know, who was the quickest on the trigger on this one.
Nice. So our setup worked out perfect how we wanted it. We finally got up in the hills. I think that's where these coyotes are. Wind's blowing from right to left. That coyote actually came from the downwind side, but he made a beeline right for the call. We lost visibility of him down in this low spot, but that was okay. I knew he'd be looking at the call this way while we're up on the hill. Sure enough, he came right up here and he checked up a little bit because he saw us, but we were right on him, ready to go. I think Tyler and Ty double tapped him at the same time, about 60 yards down in front of us.
Sure enough, the coyote came right up, and I purposely had put the call off to the side like that, kind of upwind and off to the side, really to hopefully keep the coyote's focus off to the left instead up where we were. And it actually did work on this one. The coyote kind of come up. He looked up at us a little bit, but he was still kind of looking over the call. And Tyler and Ty, you know, shot simultaneously, both whacked this coyote, you know, 50, 60 yards, and we were on the board.
Woohoo! Nice.
Dude, it's all furred up.
Yeah.
So we just got done killing a coyote on the way to that stand. We spotted a coyote down here eating the cake. They had just come along here earlier this morning, so the cows were all strung out in a line. And a lot of times those coyotes will come down there and eat that cake that they feed the cows. So we spotted him, so he's probably right down here. The wind's good. We're gonna slip in kind of right over this knob right here. Call, he should only be 500-600 yards below us. If it works out, if he's not full of cake, we should get him. See him coming through there? He's coming right here through the yellow grass. See him? He's right here in this bottom. I'll stop him right here on this hill for you. Blew his heart out.
I blew his heart out on that runner. Sometimes you hit a coyote in the heart, even on a dead run like that, they don't just roll. Sometimes you'd think every time you'd hit them, they'd stumble or roll. I mean, this coyote was kind of quartering straight away, and I must have tucked it just right up in. He stumbled just a little bit, but as I got him in the scope, you just saw his whole side instantly become red, and it's just like somebody took a paintbrush through here. Luckily, we saw him pile up, but it would have been a short tracking job if we wouldn't have seen this. This is just sprayed with blood. Here, I'll show you the skid mark up here. It's pretty impressive. He had some momentum. He had some momentum going down the hill. He hit and skidded probably 10 yards. Good hackles on him, an older coyote. Yeah, older female, sorry. Older female. Good teeth on her. It's got her in the lungs a little bit too. Bleeding out of the mouth, but nonetheless, we're on him, man.
You got it, bet you, buddy.
2 stands in a row. We finally figured out a pattern. So now we've killed coyotes in back-to-back stands. You know, we've starting to develop a little bit of a pattern where we think the coyotes now are up in the hills. So that's kind of what we're keying on. That's what we're looking for. We made a couple blank stands, but we still thought the coyotes were going to be up in the hills. And the challenge to hunting these hills is it's real steep terrain on the side hills. You know, we were anticipating that the coyotes were going to be on the south-facing slopes of the hill because it was a north wind. Just like any kind of animal, they're going to bed up out of the wind. And when we set up on this stand, you would have thought you could have seen coyotes coming forever. But once again, like happened many times on this trip, it's just a matter of, oh, coyote's right there, 75 yards on a dead run coming up underneath. And at that moment, we barely have time to get the camera on. It's time to go. I kind of wheeled down and used my red dot. Caught him a little far back on the first shot. The coyote spun a little bit. Shot him again to finish him off. But it's just amazing, You sit there, you think you're going to see everything, and before you know it, in a matter of 3 seconds, you have a coyote. From the time you spotted the coyote to the time you shoot it, it's really all the time there was to do that. But nonetheless, we're kind of pumped back up. Now we have 3 coyotes for the day. We're feeling good. We think we have a pattern figured out. We load up and we head to the next one.
He must have skylined Tyler. Coming? Oh, there's another one. There's another one out there in the middle of the ice. Right of that one, John. Come out of. Oh, he's sitting there. Didn't he stop? He's just standing there now. Coming? This guy's coming hard at the second. This back one. I'll probably pair up and come right. Oh, look at him coming. Here he go. You got him? Tied! All 3 joined up. Here we go. They're getting real close to winning us though here. The lead one. The lead one here right in the fence. I'm gonna red dot him right here. God damn it. Got him. Where's the other one at? Oh. This one's still going down. Got it good.
That was frustrating, super frustrating. We finally, these coyotes all bunched up. We finally came. All it took was one of them. One of them from the far right, a coyote we didn't even know was here, came hard, and the other 2 just sucked them right in, almost like geese. The lead coyote came up right here. He kind of peeled out here. I had him probably 60 yards, and I tried to red dot him. I shot right at the top of him, and then it was a cluster. I rolled him down here by the fence, but I got him in the front leg, I think. This one out here stopped out here probably 250, 300. Ty got it. Yeah, so we finally got what we were looking for. This trip will come in. I'm not pleased, obviously, with what happened. I'm glad we got one for sure. We'll probably go over here after this one. I knocked his front leg out. Maybe both legs are pretty good. If we'd have got him right here, I think we'd have had a good chance. But it looked like the back 2, my focus was on the lead coyote. He was coming so hard, I'm like, let's kill him and those back 2. So I took him, but the problem is the wind's going right here. This lead coyote was probably within yards of getting my wind. Like I said, shooting down, I just shot over the top of him, a couple of those shots with the red dot. By the time we come across that flat out there, about 150, I did roll him, but Ty made a good shot on this one. This one actually checked up out there. It didn't even really know what was going on with the pup fight, and I had schoolyard brawl playing. But we definitely got one coyote. The other one, he was 350, 400 yards out there when we finally got some shots. But another stand where I ran my mag dry. So that's kind of a common thing with me, I guess. But we'll go get these coyotes. We're going to drive down and get them on the meadow here. We'll get that one. We'll go over there. We might find this coyote. He might be laid up, bleeding out by now. We'll go see, but definitely one, maybe two. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You know, all in all, we had an awesome week. We had an awesome day of hunting. You know, like I said before, it really comes down to having fun out here, the camaraderie with the guys, you know, cracking jokes and telling stories all day long, riding from stand to stand. You know, we worked today. We froze. It was cold. It was below zero, probably wind chills most of the day. We walked a lot. We probably made 15 or 16 stands. We put in the effort, you know, and we were rewarded with 5 coyotes. And 5 coyotes is an awesome day no matter where you go, no matter what time of year. Just nothing I'd rather be doing than killing coyotes in February, I can tell you that.